Hey guys, it's Julia. So today's video is going to be my eyeshadow palettes of 2017 reflection video. So basically I'm going to go through all the palettes that I bought in 2017, or the palettes that were released this year, and just kind of give you guys my opinions on them, my final thoughts, my reviews, whether I think that they're worth the buy or worth the skip. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. Basically it's just me ruminating upon my consumer's tendencies to buy a ton of eyeshadow palettes. I've spent a kind of ridiculous amount of money on eyeshadow palettes this year. So while I do spend quite a bit of money on makeup, and it does make me feel guilty from time to time, like when I was arranging the palettes for this video, it's something that makes me happy, and it's an art form, so whatever form of self-expression, you shouldn't have to feel guilty about loving that kind of thing. So anyways, without further ado, let's get right into the palettes of 2017, and I'm going to start off with Anastasia Beverly Hills. So first off, they released Subculture. This was released, I think, in the end of July, maybe August. I love the whole aesthetic of this palette. I think it's very edgy and just kind of offbeat from what was being released at the time. I love the blues in here. I just love the color selection. I think they did a really good job putting together the colors in here. I know a lot of people really hated this palette. The formula of this was quite controversial. I have made my opinion clear about this one. I do actually like this palette. They are very pigmented and they are pretty powdery, but I can still work with that because I think the pigment is amazing. You just need to be very careful with how much you use. The only shade in here that I really just did not like and could not get to work for me was the shade here called All Star. I did find that this one oxidized a bit. Besides that, I love all the shades in here. I made some amazing looks with this one. I really like this eyeshadow palette. I believe this is permanent. It was $45 from Anastasia Beverly Hills. You can find it at Sephora and Ulta. So overall, my review of this one is yes, I do like it. And then I have the other palette that they released this year, which was the Prism palette. This was their holiday 2017 release. The colors, and a lot of people were saying that this looks very similar to Subculture. I think they're just saying that though because of the green and then the yellow in here. It's very edgy colors as well, and I think that's kind of fun. I love how Anastasia was able to just kind of play around with colors for the holiday palettes so they don't feel necessarily obligated to put like a lot of neutral transition shades. You can just kind of have fun. I also really like this palette. The shimmers in here are beautiful. I think the formula of this one is a lot more comparable to Modern Renaissance and nothing like Subculture. I also just really like the fact that they kind of played around with duochromes. I really do love duochrome shadows, and I think they do them very well at Anastasia. So Lucid, Dimension, both beautiful duochrome shades. I just think the quality of this shadow palette is really amazing. I've loved the looks I've been able to create with it so far, and overall I do think it's worth it. It's $45. It's still available right now at Sephora and Ulta, and yeah, this was a hit for me. So this next one is another palette from this season for the holidays. It is the Becca Après Ski Eye palette. Very reflective, but the packaging is absolutely stunning. Very sturdy as well. And then the inside, again, reflective. These are all shimmer shades, and they're kind of inspired by the Becca highlighter formula. So these are very soft, very pigmented, and they have a nice sheen to them. This is one of my favorite formulas of shimmer shadows. I think these just go onto the eyes so easily. They're very soft, very pigmented. I think they're just really beautiful and buttery. This is quite expensive. It's $49, but these are some of my favorite shimmer shadows, and I think they just pair amazingly with any other palette. I like to use these all over the lid whenever I'm doing like a smoky eye or anything like that. So yeah, I've really been enjoying this palette so far. So Urban Decay has come out with quite a few palettes this year, but I only picked up one this year from them. It was the Urban Decay Naked Heat palette, and this definitely received the most hype out of all the palettes that came out with this year. It came out in June, so I was really intrigued when I saw the colors in here. Oops, the brush always falls out. I was quite intrigued when I saw the color selection because I'm not the hugest fan of Naked palettes. You guys know that if you watched my videos before. I don't like the Naked 1, 2, 3, and Smoky, but I just really wanted to try this one out because it was getting so many amazing reviews, and the colors, obviously, right up my alley. I just love warm tone shades. So I did end up picking up this palette, and I really like it. The mattes in here are much better quality than any other Naked palette, in my opinion. I think they're very blendable, pigmented. They just work really well. The shimmers, while they do all look pretty similar, I find that they perform amazingly. They're not super flaky. There's not a ton of fallout. Great with this though is that it's not super versatile. I think you can only create like 1 or 2 looks with this palette. They're all the same look because it's very limited in color selection. So if you're wanting something a little bit more versatile, I will recommend a palette later on in this video that I find has some similar colors to this one and has more versatility. But this is a really good palette. If you like to collect Naked palettes, or if you just really love these tones and you think you'd get a lot of use out of this one, I do recommend it. Overall, it has been a hit, and I do not regret purchasing this one at all. I also purchased the Marc Jacobs Scandalust Eye Palette. These are the new iconic palettes that they came out with earlier this year, I think sometime during summer. I purchased this in New York, so it's very special to me already, but I love the colors in here. So if you cover up that red, you've got a really nice neutral color palette, but if you do add that red in there, obviously you have a nice cranberry shade. So this is very similar, in my opinion, to the Modern Renaissance palette, except I like the formula a little bit better. This is one of the best formulas I've ever tried. These shimmers in here are absolutely insane. The mattes are very blendable and pigmented. I think this is just a really beautiful palette. The packaging is very sleek. It's just very high quality, and you can tell that the formula has been revamped. So I think this is a really amazing palette. Definitely one of my top favorites of the year and in my collection in general, and definitely recommend this one. I know I've been saying a lot of positive things about these palettes in my video, but I really think that makeup brands have been stepping up their game lately. They've just been putting out amazing quality products. There are some duds every now and then, but most of the things in here I really do like. Okay, so next up I want to talk about Too Faced. So the first palette that they released this year that I picked up was the Too Faced Natural Love palette, and this was released I think sometime during spring, obviously, because the packaging is very spring appropriate. I absolutely love the outer packaging. I think it's just so beautiful. They did a really nice job with this packaging, and I honestly think that Too Faced really does just do amazing packaging. This palette was $60, and I do not think the shadows in here are worth that much. It's not an amazing palette. I think they put a lot of the money's worth into the packaging and not the actual quality of the shadows, which is very disappointing. That's not to say the entire palette is bad. There are some good shades in here. I did count out the ones I did like, and I think it was somewhere around like 18 shadows. So 18 out of 30, that's kind of bad. It is a really pretty palette, and I do think you could get it to work if you want to. I just barely ever reach for this because A, when I'm creating a natural look, I have other palettes in my collection that I'll reach for over this one, and B, I just don't really create natural looks that often. Honestly, I love color. I love pigment. As you can see, I've got this like pigment purple shadow glitter thing going on right now, and this is very neutral and natural. So while I do love the outer packaging, I think I kind of got sucked into this too much and didn't really pay attention to the inner shadows. So for that reason, I don't think it's worth the price at all, and I kind of regret getting this one, but it is really pretty and I'm stuck with it. So I will try and enjoy it as I can. So the other Too Faced palette that I got, I only got 2 palettes this year from Too Faced because they were releasing like a ton. They release so many things at such an alarming pace. I feel like they're kind of going too fast and they just need to calm down. If you release like a ton of new things in succession, people are not going to get excited for each new release. So I think they just need to calm down in 2018, and same with ColourPop, which I'll talk about later. But Too Faced Just Peachy Matte's palette, I really did love this palette, and I think the Too Faced Peach collection that they did this year was definitely like a hit. Not only does it smell amazing, but the shadows in here are very blendable. They're all mattes, so I really like that. I think it's easy to create like a nice neutral look, but you also have some nice matte berry shades in here and peaches. It's just a really beautiful palette in general. They're very pigmented, they blend very well. I find these to be very easy to work with, and it's just a really amazing palette. So overall, I think this was definitely a hit and one of Too Faced's best successes the entire year. So Too Faced Just Peachy Mattes, I recommend it. So I know I just name dropped ColourPop, so I think it's only appropriate to talk about them now. I did pick up 4 eyeshadow palettes from them this year, so I'm just going to go in order of when they were released. So the first palette that they released ever was the Yes Please Pressed Powder Shadow palette. So I don't like the packaging of this one. It is white and it gets really dirty very fast, which normally wouldn't be a problem, except ColourPop's formula is very powdery. So I find that this just creates a mess. As you can see, it's really messy and gross and dirty. I consider myself to be very clean with my makeup. I do not like having messy products, so I try to keep my stuff as clean as possible, but this is hard to clean and it gets messy, so that's annoying, but I do love the shadows in here. Obviously, this is a very warm tone palette. This is a great dupe for the Natasha Denona Sunset palette, which I did not pick up because $129 is crazy. This is only $16, so it's a steal, and it's very good quality. Yellow down here is really good. I do know that it's pretty hard to formulate a good yellow shadow, so I think it's a really amazing thing that ColourPop was able to do that. Overall, I haven't really been using this as much because it's not really a fall palette. I find this to be a very good summer palette. The mattes, while they do kick up a bit of powder, they are pretty blendable, and I think they're pretty easy to work with. And then the shimmers are very foiled and just super soft. So I think this is an amazing palette, and the first one that ColourPop released, so it was a huge hit, and everyone was really loving this palette, and for good reason. So I think this is a really good one. It's still available for $16, so definitely pick this one up because it's really good. So the next palette that they released was from the Femme Rusa collection with Carucci, and this is the She palette. So I think this is absolutely stunning, and the packaging is just beautiful. And the inside, here are the colors. I think this is a very romantic and feminine palette. It's just so beautiful. And then I think they really did a good job of listening to the customers. A lot of people had the same complaints about the ColourPop Yes Please packaging, so they just really revamped it with this one. Really beautiful. There's 4 mattes down here, so it's very blendable and pigmented. And then there's 4 like very glittery metallic shades, and then 4 more like satiny shades. So I like that you can create a lot of like really rosy, purple, like lavendery looks and just some romantic pinks. And I think it's really gorgeous for like Valentine's Day, or if you're really attracted to these types of colors. I haven't really gotten to play around with this as much as I would like to, but it's really beautiful. The quality is standout. I think ColourPop is pretty consistent with the quality of their palettes, so definitely pick up whatever palette attracts you because these are really good. So the next one they released and the next one that I bought was the ColourPop My Little Pony one. And I am not a huge fan of My Little Pony. I'd never watched them when I was a kid. I didn't even watch cartoons. I had a weird childhood. Anyways, I did not buy it for My Little Pony. I did buy it for the colors. I really like the blue aqua shades down here. There's a lot of duochromes in here, which you know I love. Fortunately, the lavender in here is awful. It just does not perform the way I wanted it to. You have to dig in really, really hard and you have to use your finger. So I like to use a brush with my shimmer shades, so that was kind of disappointing to me. Overall, this is the ColourPop palette that I've enjoyed the least. That's not to say it's bad though. That's not to say it's bad though. The mattes in here are still the same quality and the shimmers in here are really beautiful. It's just that one purple that kind of pisses me off because I really wanted it to work out. Other than that, it's really pretty, and if you do like these colors or you like My Little Pony, it's a really cute collection, and I think they did a good job. So the next one I have to talk about is the ColourPop All I See Is Magic Shadow palette. So this is their Holiday 2017 palette. I'm wearing it on my eyes today. I think it's a really beautiful palette. So today I'm wearing Big Spoon Teacup Imperial, Tinseltown over here, Pitter Patter, and then Something Special. And then I'm also wearing one of the ColourPop Supernova Shadows. So I'm pretty much wearing all ColourPop today. It's really fun. I am very impressed with this palette. I think the mattes in here are amazing. They're very blendable, pigmented. They just work so beautifully. The shimmers in here are absolutely stunning. So honestly, I would have to say out of all the ColourPop palettes that I own, this one is my favorite just because you get so many amazing shades in here. I did also order the Dream Street palette from Cafe & Lights, so that's coming soon. I don't know. It's in the mail right now, so it should reach me soon, but I did order that one. I'm trusting that it will be the same quality as the other ColourPop palettes. Overall, I think ColourPop has really been putting out amazing palettes this year, and if you see any that you like, definitely pick them up. I definitely recommend them. They're really good. So I picked up one thing from Jouer this year. This is actually the first thing I've ever tried from Jouer. It was their Skinny Dip eyeshadow. Their Skinny Dip collection looked really, really beautiful, and I saw Nikki Tutorial swatching these on her Snapchat story, and I had to buy it. It was kind of an impulse purchase, but it's really beautiful, and I do like this palette a lot. To get the best result, you definitely do need to go in with a wet brush. This is just really beautiful for the holiday season. It's very festive. You get some nice glittery shades in here. I love using these for doing cut creases or just for all over lid shades whenever I'm doing like a smoky eye. It's just a really beautiful palette. So far my first experience with Jouer products has been positive. I really do like this palette, and I'm not sure if this is still available. I think it was limited edition, the Skinny Dip collection. This is really beautiful and definitely a really good first impression of Jouer. Okay, so the next one to talk about is the Carly Bible Deluxe Edition palette from BH Cosmetics. So this came out, and I want to say May, April? Either April or May, I'm not sure. But I got this in, I want to say July. But this is available on Ulta.com and in Ulta stores. It is really beautiful. These are very nice natural neutral colors, and I find that these are a lot better quality than the Too Faced one. So that's kind of saying a lot because this is only like $24 and the Too Faced one was $60. You also get some really beautiful like buttery, super pigmented highlighters in here. I think Carly did an amazing job with this palette, and this definitely makes me want to try more from BH Cosmetics. I think it's just a really beautiful palette. It's laid out in a way that's easy to understand and create some beautiful looks with it. So far I've really been enjoying this palette. I think it's definitely going to be a neutral staple in my collection and really like this one. So I did buy two palettes this year from Huda Beauty. So the first one that I bought was the Desert Dust palette. Obviously, the packaging of this is stunning. This is probably one of my favorite palettes of the entire year. Here's the colors. I really love the colors she picked out. I think she did an amazing job making this entire palette. Just a beautiful color story. I love the duochromes in here and the glitter and all the shimmer shades. I think it's a really amazing formula, and then the mattes are very blendable and pigmented. So honestly, this has kind of made its way into like one of my favorite palettes in my entire collection. I think if I had to pick a top 5, this would definitely be in there. And overall, while it is expensive, I think it's 100% worth it. I think her shadows are really beautiful. I think the packaging is amazing, and I think the quality is really there. So overall, I do not regret this one bit. I think it's a really beautiful palette, and yeah. I also picked up one of the little Huda Beauty mini palettes. I know that I said in my anti-haul that I was not going to buy any of these, but then I was in Sephora, I saw these little palettes in the checkout section, and I was like, oh my gosh, they're so cute. So I was really just pushed to pick up one of them, and I picked up the Warm Brown Obsessions. You have a lot of really nice neutral matte browns in here, but you also have this beautiful fiery red in here, the terracotta brown. You also have a nice bronzy shimmer shade. It is really tiny, but the pans in here are the same size as like the Huda Beauty Desert Dust palette, so I think it's a really good value. It's only $27, and I think it's amazing qualities. But they are really beautiful. I definitely want to pick up the Mauve Obsessions and the Electric Obsessions. I think they're really gorgeous. So overall, this one is a yes for me as well. I think they're really good. So I also picked up 2 palettes from Morphe this year, and these are going to finish off my video. So the first one I picked up was the Morphe 25B palette. They released the 25A and 25B. I did not pick up 25A because it was very similar to a lot of the colors I already have. But the 25B looked really beautiful. They have some nice burgundy shades in here and a lot of like mocha cool browns and warm browns, pretty much every neutral you would want in your collection. To be honest, I probably did not need this palette at all because I have a lot of these shades in my collection. If you were to cover up just the bottom 2 rows, I have those colors already, but I really was drawn into these burgundy shades down here, and I really do enjoy this palette. It's really good quality, and one of the main reasons I'm so glad that I bought this is because these 3 cool brown shades up here, I use those for my nose contour. So beautiful. Overall, this is only $18 if you're wanting a good starter palette. In here are very blendable, very pigmented, and the shimmers in here are nice and foiled as well. So overall, this was a hit for me. You can totally see that Morphe is just revamping their quality and making everything a lot better. So I enjoyed this one a lot. And then the next palette I have to talk about, the last one in this video, is the Morphe Jaclyn Hill palette. So you guys know how I feel about this one. I really do love it. This has quickly become like one of my favorite palettes in my entire collection, probably even my favorite. I'm so inspired to create amazing looks with this one. The colors in here are beautiful. The mattes are very pigmented, very blendable. Shimmers are some of the best in my entire collection. So I know a lot of people have been raving about this palette, so I won't talk your ear off about this one. It is $38 for 35 shadows. So I think that's a very fair price for the quality. It's just such an amazing palette. My final verdict on the Jaclyn Hill palette is that yes, it's an amazing palette, definitely worth the price, and I love it. So that concludes my palettes of 2017 video. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know that I was being very positive about most of the palettes in this video, but that's because I just genuinely have loved a lot of the stuff I tried this year, so that's really good. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe down below. Let me know in the comments what your favorite palettes this year were. I really want to know what your favorites have been. So yeah, if you made it to the very end of this video, I love you. Thank you so much for watching my channel.